Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, I've recently attended the Guelph Trials and the Landscape Ontario Plant Trials in Milton. Now, the Guelph Trials are at the Turfgrass Institute. Eventually, it's going to move. Nobody knows when and where exactly, but the land that has been on for about 20 years or more has been sold to go into housing. So all the turfgrass trials, all the plant trials are all going to be gone. Now where they're going to go, nobody knows. We'll start with the Guelph Trial Garden. Obviously, it's been there a long time. It is supported by the industry. And the organizations that support it locally, the growers and suppliers mainly, are like Linwell Gardens, Plant Products, George Sant Greenhouses, Ed Sobkovich Greenhouses, JVK, MCP Manufacturing, SunGrow, HC Companies, and Windmill Landscapes. And they're all basically in Ontario. So these are Ontario companies supporting these trials. The breeders and distributors are amongst the best in the world. There's American Tacky, American Seed, Ball Floral, Ball Ingenuity, Ben Airy, Blooms of Bressingham, Burpee, Dooman Orange, Florist Holland, Flora Nova, Pan American, Proven Winners, Cicada, Seeds by Design, Syngenta, Thompson and Morgan, Van Hoff and Blocker, Vegetalis, and William Dam Seeds. And that's not even all of them. That's just the highlights of the people that I'm sure you may have recognized their names. They're all supporting this trials gardens, and that's important. Now, with the garden trials, they've been there for so long, so the perennials have been there for a number of years, so you get to see how they evolve through the garden over time, and that's important. So it's just not, they're great the first year. Some of these I have seen there for the last 3 to 4 years and doing still very well. Others, you'll see them start to fade out, and of course you can see that too. The other thing that I see is that all the latest, newest annuals are being basically tested there for Ontario conditions. This has not been, of course, the best year for plant material, but you can really see the care that's been given to them in the Guelph trials. I mean, they are weed-free, well laid out, all labeled, which is very important. And they all accurately labeled so that, you can write them down and you know that this is exactly what it's going to be called when you go to the garden center. How many are there? There are hundreds and hundreds of varieties. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at dianthus. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at leucanthemum, echinaceas, salvias, coreopsis. There are a ton of perennials. There is, of course, the annuals. Now, they have a lot of begonias, and they're showing them so that you can see them and how they progress. Just because, let's say, a begonia topspin is great in scarlet and white, it doesn't mean that both of them will respond the same way. In fact, there's a pink and there's a mix. So you have to look at them and decide which one actually is going to be the strongest and the most vigorous within the group. And you can do that here. And they give you a whole sheet where you can actually mark down what you like. And when I was there, they gave you little colored flags. And you go and you pick out your favorite perennial, your favorite container, your favorite annual, so that at least they're getting public input as well, not just because it did well or it grew well or I like Duman plants, which I do, then you can actually see what the other people say, the public. There are hundreds and hundreds of varieties on the list, and you get to go through and basically mark down your comments for yourself. And they hand you this so that you can actually put down plant types, etc., etc. You'll actually know who bred it and what it's called and the series and the colors. So it's all broken down for you. I'll give you an example. They have cannas there. And there's a bunch of cannas called Canna Soul, which are really, really quite nice. I actually like these ones. And the Canna Souls are from Duman Orange. They are colored. Okay, so you're going to get Scarlet, Yellow, Cleo, Isabella, Lily, William, or I should say Wilma. And they're all going to be here, and you can make your comments. Which one did you like the best? Okay? And notes and say. So that when you go to the garden centers, you can actually go and say, I want Canna Soul, such and such, red. So that's why the trial gardens are so important. Also the fact that it's here in our growing conditions, not somewhere in California as well. So let's just be honest, they're probably the best indicators of what they're going to do in your garden, with a little bit of care, mind you. Like all plants, we need a little bit of care. Petunias, hundreds of different kinds. Some of the best petunias I've ever seen are there as well. And it is open to the public. Usually you can sort of drive in, or you can make arrangements to go and take a look at them, but they are there. One of the things I would recommend, you can go to www.plant.uoguelph.ca/trial gardens, and you can get a lot of information right there about the 2016 trials. If you want to talk to a person, at least through email, you can go and you can talk to Roger Shantz. He looks after the gardens, and his email is rtschanz@uoguelph.ca. So you've got all this information available to you at your fingertips, and definitely a good idea. Now, Landscape Ontario also has the trial gardens, and they're open at the same time. And they do a very similar thing. They go and they give you colors, cultivars, names, etc., and the breeder. Now, they also do roses. So if you're looking for roses growing in Ontario, these are the ones to take a look at. And they do a large amount. Now, there are some from Weeks Roses, but most of them are all grown by J.C. Backer, who supplied the plant material. You will find there are all different kinds of annuals, even calabacoas, impatiens. Now, the impatiens are in different areas as well, and they tell you which ones are in which area. So it's important that you actually make sure that you're on the right page with them. The plant material is also indicated here, and there is a little bit of plant material, but not an awful lot. But that's okay. We've got the roses, we've got the annuals, and we've got the perennials. And they do an extensive part of trialing hydrangeas, and I think that's important. A lot of the landscape roses, the Knockout series, the Carefree series, the So Easy varieties as well. There's a ton of different types of roses, and you're going to get to be able to see them in bloom. Now, the Milton Garden is still basic. I think this is really, it has been moved and reorganized, etc. It has been there for many years, but in doing this move, of course, it's going to take some time for it to really establish itself as well. So a lot of the plant material that you'll see at Guelph is also in the annuals and the perennials, actually here in the Milton Landscape Ontario garden as well. Most of the perennials are there, but they also have, where Guelph does not, hydrangeas and roses. So it is actually quite a learning garden as well. So if you want to contact them, you can. And one of the best ways, first of all, is to go to landscapeontario.com, and you will see that it is an industry trial garden, and it is going to be used by the industry so that they know and be educated to give you, their customer, the best when it comes to annuals, perennials, many shrubs, and of course roses. This is all being done and covered by other people. Yet there's no fee to go to either of these, so utilize it. It's well worth the trip. Make a decision and make a day of it. I know we did. We went, to be honest, we stopped, had lunch in between the two gardens in Aberfoyle. It was great. And it was really fun. We had a good day, and we took our time, enjoyed ourselves. And that is probably the best way to garden when you're gardening in the heat. Remember, comfortable shoes, lots of water, and of course, sunscreen and hats, okay? Because you're going to be out there for a while making all these notes, looking at all these plants. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.